Most people think they understand chimpanzees. We've all seen them before, in documentaries, zoos, commercials, viral clips online. They smile, play, imitate humans, and sometimes even seem funny or relatable. Because they share nearly 99% of our DNA, people often imagine them as peaceful, intelligent cousins of humanity. But that image is dangerously incomplete. Chimpanzees are not harmless forest primates living quiet lives in the jungle. They are highly intelligent, territorial predators capable of calculated violence, coordinated attacks, political manipulation, and organized warfare. The version of chimpanzees presented to the public for decades has hidden what these animals truly are. And humans helped create that illusion. We dressed chimpanzees in human clothes, trained them for television, and treated them like oversized children. Over time, people stopped seeing them as wild animals and started seeing them as friendly, almost human companions. But evolution did not design chimpanzees to be gentle. It designed them to survive. And survival in the forests of Central and West Africa demands brutality. Chimpanzees live in environments where food sources are limited, territories are constantly contested, and rival groups compete for survival. Every chimpanzee community controls land containing fruit trees, water access, and hunting areas. Losing territory means losing resources. Losing resources can mean death. Over millions of years, this pressure shaped one of the most dangerous primates on Earth. Physically, chimpanzees are far more powerful than most people realize. An adult male may stand around 1.2 meters tall and weigh between 40 and 60 kilograms, but their strength is extraordinary. Scientific studies comparing muscle performance have shown that chimpanzees can produce pulling and explosive force multiple times greater than an average adult human. The reason is not simply larger muscles. Chimpanzees possess a much higher proportion of fast-twitch muscle fibers, the fibers responsible for explosive bursts of strength and violent movement. Their bodies are built for climbing, grappling, tearing, and overpowering rivals with maximum force. Everything about their anatomy reflects this. Their grip strength is immense. A chimpanzee can suspend its entire body weight using a single arm for extended periods. Their jaws contain massive canine teeth capable of inflicting catastrophic injuries, and, unlike many animals, they attack with deliberate targeting rather than blind panic. This becomes horrifyingly clear in real-world attacks on humans. One of the most infamous incidents occurred in Stamford, Connecticut in 2009. A chimpanzee named Travis had spent years living among humans. He slept in beds, wore clothes, used household objects, and was treated almost like a family member. To neighbors and friends, he seemed unusually intelligent and calm. Then, in a matter of minutes, everything changed. Travis launched a devastating attack on Charla Nash, a friend of his owner. Emergency responders later described injuries so severe they struggled to compare them to typical animal attacks. Nash lost both hands, suffered catastrophic facial destruction, and required one of the rarest medical procedures ever attempted, a full face transplant. What shocked experts most was not only the violence itself, but the precision of it. Chimpanzees repeatedly target the same vulnerable areas during attacks: the face, hands, fingers, eyes, feet, and genitals. Medical professionals who have treated survivors often note that the injuries appear systematic rather than random. The animal knows where to attack. And that behavior is connected directly to intelligence. Chimpanzees are among the most cognitively advanced animals ever studied. They manufacture tools, solve problems, teach techniques socially, and display forms of planning once believed unique to humans. Researchers have documented chimpanzees selecting sticks for termite fishing, modifying branches into hunting tools, transporting stones to crack nuts, and even sharpening wooden spears to hunt smaller primates hiding in trees. These actions require memory, planning, and learned behavior passed between generations. But perhaps the most disturbing evidence of chimpanzee intelligence is their capacity for organized violence. In the 1970s, researcher Jane Goodall documented a shocking conflict between two chimpanzee factions in Tanzania, a conflict later known as the Gombe Chimpanzee War. A single chimpanzee community split into rival groups. Over time, one faction began systematically hunting down members of the other. Small patrols would move silently across territorial borders, searching for isolated enemies. Once a target was found, the group attacked together with overwhelming force before retreating safely back into their own territory. This continued until the opposing faction was effectively destroyed. Scientists were stunned. At the time, many researchers believed warfare was uniquely human, but the evidence showed chimpanzees engaging in coordinated raids, tactical aggression, territorial expansion, and coalition-based killing with chilling effectiveness. Later studies confirmed that Gombe was not an isolated case. Across Africa, chimpanzee communities have demonstrated organized lethal violence repeatedly. Patrol groups assess numerical advantage before attacking. They retreat when outnumbered and advance when conditions favor them. Their decisions show risk assessment, strategy, and cooperation. In many ways, chimpanzee conflict resembles primitive warfare. Their social systems are equally intense. Chimpanzee societies operate through dominance hierarchies where rank determines access to food, mating opportunities, and protection. Alpha males maintain control not only through strength, but through political alliances and social manipulation. Researchers studying chimpanzee behavior have documented betrayals, shifting alliances, intimidation tactics, and strategic grooming used to build loyalty within groups. Rising males often spend years forming coalitions before attempting to overthrow dominant rivals. And when power changes hands, consequences can be brutal. Former leaders may be isolated, attacked, or driven from the group entirely. Chimpanzees also possess long-term social memory. Studies suggest they remember past conflicts and adjust future behavior based on previous interactions. Individuals that were challenged, attacked, or humiliated can later retaliate when conditions become favorable. This means aggression is not always impulsive. Sometimes it is delayed, sometimes it is calculated. As human expansion continues across Africa, encounters between chimpanzees and humans are increasing. Forest destruction has pushed many chimpanzee populations closer to villages and farms, creating dangerous overlap between human settlements and shrinking wildlife territory. In some regions, researchers have documented chimpanzees entering villages and attacking children or infants. Local communities living near chimpanzee habitats often view them with fear and caution rather than fascination. To them, chimpanzees are not cartoon animals or entertainment icons. They are powerful wild predators capable of lethal violence. At the same time, chimpanzees themselves are under enormous pressure. Habitat destruction, hunting, disease transmission, and deforestation have caused wild populations to collapse across much of Africa. Modern estimates suggest only a few 100,000 chimpanzees remain in fragmented forests. The irony is difficult to ignore. An animal capable of extraordinary intelligence, political strategy, tool construction, organized warfare, and devastating violence is now fighting for survival against a rapidly expanding human world. And despite everything terrifying about them, chimpanzees are not evil. They are simply the result of millions of years of evolution shaped by competition, scarcity, and survival. What makes them unsettling is not that they are monsters, it is how familiar parts of their behavior feel. Territory, alliances, revenge, power struggles, war. The line separating humans from chimpanzees is incredibly thin, and somewhere in the forests of Africa, an animal sharing almost all of our DNA is still watching, still adapting, and still surviving in a world that continues closing around it.